We are here to develop a program that can help us reduce our greenhouse gas emissions.
2017 was the third warmest year on record. 2016 was the warmest. 2015 was the second warmest. But we keep breaking new records for warmest ever. My name is Philip Moat. I'm director of the Oregon Climate Change Research Institute, folks who work on many, many different aspects of climate change. I want to bring your attention back to this fossil fuel reserves. If the human race persisted in digging these up and putting them in the atmosphere, we could easily put more carbon into the atmosphere than has been present for many hundreds of millions of years.
The costs of weather-related climate change disasters, if I remember correctly, NOAA's affiliate office found that 2017 costs in the United States was $306 billion.
And then there are intersections between the challenge of reducing emissions and the challenge of living on this changing planet and reducing the risk of future wildfires, water shortages, ecosystem shifts, species surprises, coastal erosion, and so on.
Record. I'm Richard Whitman. I'm the director of the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality. The science has not moved on the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions necessary to keep temperature increases at that level. So we're a little over 10 million metric tons above where we want to get based on the existing goals adopted by the legislature for 2020. Particularly in the last few years, we're seeing transportation greenhouse gas emissions rise fairly substantially.
If we essentially don't address the need to move people efficiently around our urban areas, particularly, and between urban areas, aren't we more likely to see that transportation sector grow?
A lot of activity in Oregon. We've done a lot. Some of these programs really are still groundbreaking nationally. In other areas, we have not done quite as much as other states.
So now at the end of a long hearing, I get to thrill you with the exciting topic of economics. I'm Dallas Bertraw. I'm an economist at Resources for the Future in Washington, D.C. You can have conservative economists and you can have liberal economists, but one thing they'll pretty much all agree on is that when it comes to achieving a goal like greenhouse gas reductions, carbon pricing is a preferable way to go. This is explicit carbon pricing on a global basis, and the blue shows where there's cap and trade. The red shows where there's a carbon tax. There's an energy transformation that's happening globally, and Oregon is particularly well positioned to be able to take advantage of that because of the resource base that the state has. I want to argue that there's a chance to increase economic development in Oregon under a well-designed cap and trade program.
And I think you've made the case that Oregon could play a part in prompting something on the world stage by virtue of its action here next year.
There is a bit of a leapfrog game going on, and the New Jersey and Maryland, New York and Massachusetts are individually adopting increasingly stringent climate policies at the state level. Ask yourself, where does Oregon want to be with respect to the energy and infrastructure profile in the 21st century, and then how can cap and trade complement and help getting there?
Recently we've learned that states like New Jersey want to rejoin the other, 9 states now? That'll be the 10th, and that Virginia is on the verge of it.
From outside Oregon, there are a lot of eyes on Oregon. I mean, Oregon is, one of the exciting things that's happening this year for those people who are trying to make progress in addressing climate change. If I couldn't convince myself that this was in Oregon's self-interest, I would find this a very difficult thing to support. But I'm convinced that it is in Oregon's self-interest.
I want to say thank you all for attending, and anything else, Mr. Co-Chair? Good. We're good? All right, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you, colleagues.